Hello. Hello. Hi, everybody. This is a nice turnout. Um, I'm talking about why something is popular, so it's a good thing there's a decent turnout, because if there was nobody here, that would maybe clash with the theme. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here. My name is James Malley. I'm the CEO and co-founder of a software company called Paccurate. I've been in shipping software for about 16 years and laser focused on packaging and packing software for the last 11 years. So I think a lot of us in supply chain have this problem where, like, if you're at a party with non-supply chain people and they're like, "What do you do?" And you say, "I've just been thinking about putting things in boxes for over a decade." And they're like, "Cool." I have that problem. However, that same thing that makes me not popular at parties with civilians, I think makes me at least a little bit credentialed to speak to this topic of packaging. And so why now? Why am I saying, after working on this for a decade, why is packaging popular right now? Well, if you look at this beautiful collage of badly packed boxes, I think everybody in this room, except for those that are just looking for a warm place to hang out, could probably come up with any number of excuses or reasons for why a bad pack might happen. Anybody want to give me one? Call it out. Bad dims, an excellent common reason. It's not conveyable, the box size that fits, or bad cubing, or we ran out of that one, or my foot hurts, or whatever it is. We've been hearing kind of that rationale for why bad packs happen for a very long time. And so the implication of those, that reasoning is, well, it just happens. And the juice is not worth the squeeze to fix it, right? Over the past 18 to 24 months, noticed people talking about it a little bit differently. It's less kind of hand-waved away and more, well, we got to think about it in this way. And so the moment for me when I kind of realized that the conversation had shifted over time, it's actually an MHI survey that surveyed warehouse operators. And it basically just said, what's your highest priority? And so this is the first time ever that they found that a third of warehouse operators said packaging. And as a packaging nerd, I was, shaking this survey that they published and showing my wife and getting that blank stare. But that's significant. So why? Why now? Well, there's a lot of reasons. Not all companies have the same reason. They might have multiple. It's really a confluence, a convergence of a bunch of different reasons. So we're going to keep today's talk pretty quick, tight, won't take the full 45, but I'm going to run through some of these reasons that have come up over and over again over the last year or two. Customer demand. So in the way that we kind of brainstormed all the reasons why a bad pack could happen, because we know what a warehouse is like, we know capturing dimensions can be challenging without, Cubiscan or whatever, or it's hard to anticipate how many of these box sizes that we needed, or whatever the reason is. The consumer doesn't know or care about any of that. All they have is a checkout that probably went well. There was a promise date after they clicked buy, and they're waiting for their box, and it shows up, and all they know is that it's mostly empty, or they have to take out yards and yards of paper or whatever it is. They don't know how hard it is. So they think you just don't care, which is frustrating, right? Now, are there any Gen Zers here? One? Okay. It's a more mature audience. One Gen Zer, I'm an elder millennial, so when I receive a badly packed box, I just kind of, besides the professional curiosity, I just kind of grumble about it and stick it in the pile with the others and haul it out to the recycling eventually. Gen Z, and I don't know if this is true for you, but studies have shown that they're the first generation that will actually change their buying behavior if they perceive a brand to be wasteful. And that's a problem. It's a problem because Gen Z is rapidly taking over the consumer base, the e-commerce consumer base. So this is just one problem. I can't tell you the number of companies or I should say operators I talk to who are thinking about this for the first time because their CEO saw a viral post on TikTok about a really horrifically packed box, and it went viral, and CEO called them and said, "Why is this happening? You have to fix this now. This looks terrible. We shouldn't be going viral for reasons like this." So it's definitely having an impact. Beyond consumers, there's just the general technology in the warehouse. This is an incredible show to walk around and see robotics systems doing their dance. You can kind of just stand there with a Slurpee and enjoy the view because it's really a sight to behold. But as AMRs and other kind of picking technology has proliferated, it's really moved the efficiency bottleneck downstream to pack out. So now, all of a sudden, my picking is not just solved, it might be 3 times faster than it was before. So that puts more pressure on my packers to assemble these boxes quickly. They already have a mandate to get a certain number of boxes out the door every minute, hour, whatever it is. But now they're dealing with an increased volume of SKUs showing up at their pack station. So a lot of shippers don't really have a way of dealing with this aside from adding more and more pack stations. And this is, the classic warehouse game of whack-a-mole where your efficiency rises in one area and then it goes down somewhere else. Whatever, it is causing people to look at packing and how do we make this faster, more efficient so that we can get this right. I've also seen, here actually at the show, ASRS, automated storage and retrieval systems, also an amazing technology that's kind of starting to really proliferate, AutoStore and others. And they're starting to hook them up to on-demand packaging, like a pack size, so that they can have this really smooth flow from picking to box. But that's causing a lot of people to scrutinize their cubing algorithm or how they think about packing these SKUs. Because if that's not right, and you've got items coming out in this very specific sequence and they result in like an overfilled carton, that kind of diminishes the joy and the efficiency that the ASRS dream promised. So automation is one thing. Rising costs, this seems kind of obvious, right? Unless you're a top, 50 retailer or B2B shipper, FedEx, UPS, they're going to punish you for empty packing, and they get empty boxes, and they get more and more aggressive with how they do that, with dimensional weight, additional handling surcharges, all these things. But an example of another thing that was just kind of like, well, it's the cost of doing business, corrugated. The nerds call it corrugated fiberboard. The civilians outside call it cardboard. That was just kind of like the cost of doing business. It's a commodity. It is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it. Well, during the pandemic, supply chain issues, it spiked the price, and it was kind of a jolt to the system, at least, for people to start thinking about, we should probably think about controlling this a little bit. And another common anecdote I hear is, well, the C-suite said we have to use more sustainable fill or packaging materials. And they're really excited about it, and I am too, but I asked, so does this come out of my budget? And they're like, oh yeah. It'll just, all that green stuff will come right out of your budget. It'll be great, don't worry. There's some amazing material. Many of them are out here, actually. You probably see them walking around. They do come with a price tag. So more emphasis on using less of this stuff or only using what you need to protect the product. This is another major reason why people are looking at packaging. The environment. It's not just consumers. it's also, if you're a public company, you may have shareholders that are activists that may care about things like this, Scope 3 emissions, et cetera. But now the governments are getting involved. So you may have heard of the PPWR, which is the EU's attempt to limit the empty space in e-commerce shipments. But they basically say, all right, at this point, we're no longer going to allow you to ship half-empty boxes. Half-empty meaning 50%, which to most people would seem like, yeah, that's obvious, 50%, whatever. But I think probably a lot of people in this room know how difficult that actually is, because most people don't have on-demand packaging that's perfectly wrapping corrugate around the items. Most people just have stock boxes and a variety of SKUs. So it's a really difficult hurdle. The EU is the leader. Another leader is New Jersey. Go figure. They have a very similar law with a bunch of carve-outs, but the fact is it's in the United States. It's probably going to be state by state, but it's here. So it's worth thinking about. Unclear how they'll enforce the fees for badly packed boxes, but they are working on it. So that's the why. I think the question is, well, everybody's talking and thinking about how to fix this. How do I actually fix it? The good news is there's a ton of solutions. So you called out bad dimensions. Cubiscan is coming out with new amazing technology all the time. There's new kinds of cartonization. Many of you might be using the cartonization feature that's baked into your WMS, or maybe you use something you hired a math major to build at one point just to get on with it. The good news is cartonization has come a very long way. There are full kind of enterprise platform solutions out there that you can bring to bear, not just to help you decide which stock box to pick, but ones that will actually drive your on-demand packaging if you've made it that far. And integrate even with your shopping cart so you can know way upstream how much is this actually going to cost when it's fully packed out. And it can address, much like a pack size machine, can address all of these things that we talked about. And yeah, so it's a brief case study, and then I'm going to stop talking. But Barrett Distribution, you may have heard of them, pretty popular 3PL. They really upgraded their cartonization to start, because they really had this thesis that our customers care about the environment, but they also care about cost. And so their whole business model is, let's make sure we're investigating every avenue to save our customers money. And so as they began this kind of journey into optimizing their packaging, they adopted advanced cartonization. And these were the results. It's not too shabby for something that is relatively light lift to incorporate. But this is often just the beginning for a shipper of that size. They're investigating auto baggers, on-demand packaging I mentioned, and a ton of other things. That's all, folks. We can do a Q&A if anybody has any questions. Scan that code and either say the speaker was horrific, they should be barred from Chicago, or kind of interesting. Maybe he should come back next year. Thank you, everybody.